Welcome to this predicted paper from On Maths. This paper represents the best guess for the upcoming exams. Please use this paper in addition to your other revision. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our On Maths site. On Maths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions, and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing. Enjoy! If I split this shape into two sets of 6 blocks, when we're asked to shade in 3/6, for each one of those, or each set of blocks, I'm going to shade in 3 of the 6. So that's 3 for the first set, and this is 3 for the second set. And that's our answer. Now you might notice that 3/6 is the same as a half, because we can divide on 1 by 3, and so all I need to do is shade in a half. Or you might convert 3/6 into 6/12, and there's 12 squares altogether, so it's 6 of the 12 squares. There's lots of ways of doing this question. To convert between meters and centimeters, we times by 100. So we do 12.31 times by 100, which would be 1,231 centimeters. For this question, it's really important that we understand what the words sum and product mean. Now, sum just means add, and product just means times. So we're going to start by adding the 5 and the 4. So that will equal 9. And then what we're going to do is find the product of 9 and 7. So we're going to multiply them together. 9 times 7, which is 63. So our answer is 63. So we need to first of all understand what a cube number is. So a cube number is the answer to when you get 3 integers or whole numbers and we multiply them by themselves 3 times. So 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. And 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. So 1, 8, 27, 64, 125 are all cube numbers, and it goes on forever. And this question's asked us to find all the odd, or an odd, cube number that is smaller than 100. So it has to be odd, so that gets rid of the 8 and the 64, and it has to be smaller than 100, so that gets rid of the 125. So I can either write down 1 would be a fine answer, or 27. I'm going to go for 1. So if we do our place value grid, and so we've got units here, tenths and hundredths. Don't think we need any more. So we can put in our number, it's 5.87, and you can see here that the 8 here is in the tenths column. So the 8 represents 8 tenths. The key says that a circle represents 8 DVDs, and if we cut it up, then each quarter represents 2. So Monday had 8 and 2 and 2, which is 12. Tuesday had 8 and 8, which was 16. Wednesday had 8, 2, 2, 2, which is 14. And Thursday had 8, 8 and a quarter, which is 2, which is 18. But with a pictogram, you can actually just look to see which has the most of the shape. So if you look at Thursday, it has 2 and a quarter. Well, that's more than any of the other ones. All the other ones have 2 or less. So it's definitely going to be Thursday. When collecting terms, you've got to make sure you're collecting like terms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write this question out, but I'm going to use a different colour for all the things that are like terms. So we've got the 14x, we've got the 8x squared, we've got the 8x, and we've got the minus 5x squared. So the like terms are the x terms, so 14x plus, and I should say 8x, plus 8x, and the x squared terms are like terms, so we've got 8x squared, take away 5x squared. So we can do 14x plus 8x, so 14 lots of x plus 8 lots of x is going to be 22 lots of x. And we can do 8x squared minus 5x squared, 8 lots of x squared, take away 5 lots of x squared is going to be 3 lots of x squared. Now typically in our answer we'll always put the x squareds first, so it becomes 3x squared plus 22x. So we're going to start by writing 5 over 9 as a decimal, and to do that we just need to do 5 divided by 9, which will be 0.5 recurring. And to convert between a decimal and a percentage, we just times by 100. So we're going to get that 0.5 recurring, and we're going to times it by 100, and that will equal 55.555 recurring. And to the nearest percent, that's going to be 56, because that 5 will move that 5 up by 1. If we tried to draw a quadrilateral with a pair of parallel sides, and then it's a quadrilateral, so join them up, it's got 4 sides, then the shape we draw will always be a trapezium. So our answer is that it is a trapezium. Now you might think that a rectangle and square does have one pair of parallel sides, but it actually has 2 pairs of parallel sides. The definition of a trapezium is it has just one pair of parallel sides, and any quadrilateral that has one pair of parallel sides is a trapezium. The first thing to do when working out what angle things need to be on a pie chart is to add up the frequencies. So we're going to do 14 plus 7 plus 3, and we find out that that's 24. Then we're going to find the angle that one item would be. So one item is going to be, well, there are 360 degrees in a triangle, and there are 24 items. So we're going to do 360 divided by 24, and that gives us 15 degrees. So each item is worth 15 degrees, or will take up 15 degrees. So to find out the angle for red, well, we've got 14 items, times it by 15, and that will give us 210 degrees. And we're just going to times each of these by 15, which will be 105, and the final one times 15 is 45 degrees. Add them up and they add up to 360, which is good. They need to add up to 360. So we got our protractor, rest it on the pie chart. Now we know 180 is down here, so the first thing we're going to do is just mark that on, because the first angle is going to be 210, so we know that's 180 so far. So I'm going to turn my protractor around, and from 180, 210 will be another 30, so I'm just going to plot that on, and then I'm going to join it up. So start at the center and join that up, and we're going to stop when the circle stops. Then to do 105, we're going to put our protractor in the middle, and we're going to look at 105, which will be up here, and then we're just going to join it up with a straight line. And then we're just going to check the last angle, and so if I put my protractor on it, and it is 45 degrees. Perfect. Now, an important step to not miss is you need to label them. And so the first one is red, the second one is blue, and then the final one is other. The first piece of information I'm going to focus on is the fact Denver gets 8/19. Denver gets 8/19, that means that Engel and Fido together must get 11/19 because they have to add up to 1. So we're only looking at 11/19. I'm going to focus on the ratio next of Engel to Fido. So it's 9 to 5. And let's have a look and see, well, first of all, how many parts there are all together. So 9 plus 5, which is 14 parts. So there are 14 parts in total, and the share that they get is 11 over 19. So what I'm going to do is to find out what fraction one of those parts is worth by dividing 11 over 19 by 14. So each part is worth, and I'm just going to keep this into my calculator, 0.041 blah blah blah. And we're asked to find Fido's share. Well, Fido has 5 parts. So Fido has 5 parts, each of them worth 0.041 blah blah blah. I've kept it in my calculator to keep the accuracy, and when I do that I get 0.206 blah blah blah. Now we're asked to work it out as a percent, so I'm just going to times that by 100. So we have 20.676 blah 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 percent, and it wants it rounded to the nearest percent, so that would be 20%. Or actually it would be 21%, because this would round it up, so 21%. We're going to start off by finding what the multiplier will be. So we'll start off with 100%, and it's a decrease of 32.6%, so we're going to take that away, and that will leave the percentage as 67.4%. Next we need to convert that into a decimal, so we're going to divide it by 100, and that will make it into a multiplier. And the beauty about a multiplier is all we need to do is get the amount from the question, 486, and times it by the multiplier, and it will do all the hard work for us, and it will give us the answer of 327.56. So we're going to track the amount of eggs to make the amount of, or to make each amount of omelette. So 5 eggs makes 17 omelettes, and we're just going to find out how much is required, how many eggs is required to make 1 omelette. So we divide that by 17, divide both sides by 17, and so 1 omelette would be 0.294 blah 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 eggs. Next we want to see how many for 67 omelettes. And to get to 67 from 1 times 67, so do that to the amount of eggs, and we get 19.705 blah blah blah. Now you can't get 0.705 of an egg, we always round with eggs, and we always round upwards, because if you need 19.7, 19 won't be enough, so we need to pick 20 eggs. First thing we need to do is work out the area of the wall, and so to do that we're just going to multiply the 44 by the 40. So 44 times 40 is 1,760. And next thing we notice is that each tin covers 10 meters squared. So it actually means we can work out the fact that there are 1,760 meters squared in total for our wall. And if each tin covers 10 meters squared, then we will need 176 tins. That's the amount of tins we need. And each tin costs £5.70, so it'd be 176 times the 5.7, or yeah, £5.70, or you could do it as 570 pence and convert it at the end, and that gives us a price of 1003.2, and so as money that would be £1003.20. We've got to first of all work out how many parts there are altogether in our ratio. So we've got 51 saying yes, 7 saying no, and 13 undecided. So altogether we've got 51 plus 7 plus 13, which is 71 parts. Now each part is equal, so to find out the value of one part, we're going to do how many students there are, which is 2,911, and divide it by the 71 to find out what one part is worth, how many students are in one part. One part's worth 41 students. So each one of those parts in the ratio is 41 students. Now yes, because it goes yes, no, undecided, yes will be the 51 there. So it's 51 lots of 41 students. 51 parts with each part representing 41 students. And when you multiply those together, you get 2091. So our answer is that 2091 students responded with yes. All probabilities have to add up to 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take away these probabilities away from 1. So we're going to do 1 take away 0.09 plus 0.13 plus 0.18. And so that's going to be 0.4. 1 take away 0.4 is 0.6. So we can quickly draw a line of best fit for here. And it looks something like that. And if our line of best fit is increasing like we have here, then we say the data is positive. If, however, the line of best fit is decreasing and looks like this, we say that it's a negative correlation. So positive if it's going up, which this one is, so it's a positive correlation. And if it's going down, then it's a negative correlation. If the data is all over the place, so it looks like something like this, where you've got the points everywhere, we say that's no correlation. It's really important when answering this question that we're really methodical. So we're going to start off just looking at stake. And so I'm going to start off with the S. And we're going to pair it with the first dessert, which is the I. Then we're going to pair the steak with the second dessert, which is the mousse. Then we're going to pair it with the third dessert, which is the fruit. So we're being really methodical. We've done all of the combinations with steak. And so we're going to look at burger next. And we're going to pair it with the first ice cream. Then burger. And we're going to pair it with the mousse. And then finally the burger we're going to pair with the fruit. As long as we do things methodically, we don't ever miss any. So we have a set of vertically opposite angles here and here. And we're going to start with those because we have to find out what m is before we can work out what x is. And vertically opposite angles are always equal. So we've got 13m plus 39 is going to equal 2m plus 149. And we're going to get our lines in there because we're going to solve this. And to solve this, we first of all take away the smaller amount of m because we've got m's on both sides. We can't really cope with that when we're solving. And so we've got a 13m and a 2m. So we're going to remove the 2m. We're going to take that away from both sides to start off. And so we're left with 11m plus 39. And we've just got the 149 on the right hand side. Next we're going to remove the number, so take away 39 from both sides. And we've got 11m is equal to 110. And then we're going to divide both sides by 11 to find out what m is. So m therefore equals 10. So we know if m equals 10, we can then work out x. And the way we can do that is the fact that this one and this one are both on a straight line. So they are both on this straight line here. So we know that they've got to add up to 180. So let's write that down. 13m plus 39 plus x is equal to 180 degrees, or I don't normally put that in. For the working out, I always put that in for the answer. So we can solve this, or well, first of all, we know what m is. So it'd be 13 times n, which is 130. And then we can solve this. So let's get my solving lines in. And so that's going to be 169 plus x equals 180. And we're going to just take that away from both sides, the 169. So we've got x equals 11. So the value of x will be 11 degrees. We're going to first of all have to convert these both into the same unit. So we've got minutes and hours. That's not going to help us much. So what I'm going to do is pick the smaller unit, which will be minutes. So I'm going to keep that 50 minutes. And I'm going to convert 3 hours into minutes. That would be 180 because we times by 60. And I'm going to just remove the minutes now. And I can first of all divide by 10, and we want to try and make it nice and simple for ourselves. So divide by 10 would be 5 to 18. And we look at it, 5 and 18, actually there's nothing further we can do with that. So the ratio would be 5 to 18. We can write the equations of all linear graphs as y equals mx plus c, with m being the gradient and c being the y-intercept. The easiest thing to find is the y-intercept, because it's just where the line crosses the y-axis, so that's going to be -2. We're going to use that point, so the point we've just drawn on, and we're going to have to find another point to find the gradient. Now, I don't really like this point because I don't really know where that is, and we've got to find a coordinate we know the coordinates for. So looking at this, this is a nice coordinate here. And what I'm going to do is just draw a right angle triangle between the 2 points. Try and get it as nice as I can. And we're going to work out how far up and how far right we went. Well, we went 3 right and 4 up. Now, to find the gradient, what we want to do is we find out how much y has changed, so change in y, so that's how far up it's gone, which is 4, and put that over how far right it's gone, so the change in x, which is going to be 3. So our equation is going to be y equals 4 over 3 x minus 2. So we're just going to substitute the values that were given into the formula. So v squared equals, and then u is 16.4 squared plus 2 times a, which is 0.2, times s, which is 110.2. Type that into the calculator and you get 313.039 blah blah blah. And what we're going to do is we're just going to quickly solve this by square rooting both sides, because it's v squared equals and we just want v equals. So v equals, and we're just going to square root that on the calculator, 17.692 blah blah blah. It says it wants it to 2 decimal places, that's just going to be 17.69. So I'm going to write out the equation again just to give us a bit more space. And the rule we have here is if we have an x on both sides, which we do in here, we pick the smallest one to get rid of. So we've got a 12x and a 7x, and so the smaller number, or the smaller x, would be the 7x. So we're going to get rid of that first. So we've got our lines in, and we're going to take away 7x both sides. And so 12x take away 7x is 5x. And the 7x is gone, so it's just equals to 46. Then we've got the minus 4 to get rid of, so we're going to add 4 both sides. And then we've got this times 5 here, so we're going to divide 5 both sides. So we've got x equals 50 divided by 5, which is 10. The first thing we need to do is work out the area of the floor, and you'll notice that this is a trapezium. So with a trapezium, the formula is half a plus b times h, and a and b are the parallel sides, so these ones are the parallel sides, and the height is the one connecting the two bases, the two parallel sides. So we're going to start off by writing down the formula, so it'd be half a plus b h, so half times 2.8 plus 1.2 times 11. And when we do that, we get 22. So the area of the floor is 22 meters squared. And it says here that the tiles are sold in packs which cover 3 meters squared. So if each pack covers 3 meters squared, we're going to do 22 divided by 3, which will be 7.33 packs that we need. Now obviously you can't get 0.3 of a pack or 0.33 of a pack. So we're going to have to get 8 packs and just have some left over. So we'll need 8 packs in total. Okay, next thing we look at is the fact that the Jenny has a 25% discount. So we need to find out what 25% discount would do to the £18.60 for the tiles, or for the pack of tiles. And so what we're going to do is we're going to get the £18.60 and we're going to times it by 0.75. So we're just going to find 3/4 of it because she has a 25% discount, and that would be 1,395. So that's the tiles are going to cost £13.95. Now I've done this in pence and I've kind of muddled it together here, so really let's just go back because I've kind of done this in pence. So that would be 1,860 times 0.75, and so each pack will cost 1,395, and the reason we're doing this in pence is the answer needs to be given in pence, so I might as well just make that conversion now. And so it's going to be 8 lots of the 1,395 pence packs, which will cost in total 11,160 pence, or £111.60. But Jenny has £100 to spend, and we're asked how much extra does she need. So we're going to do the 11,160, take away the 10,000 pence that she has, which will give us 1,160 pence. So she needs to find £11.60 or 1,160 pence from somewhere. So if we imagine we've got the 25 metre pipe here, and we've got the 35 metre pipe here, the question's basically asking us what can we cut all these pipes into, and they all have to be the same length, that will fit with the 25 metre and the 35 metre. And essentially what this question is asking is, what is the highest common factor of 25 and 35? So to find the highest common factor, what we do is we just find the factors of 25, which is 1 and 25 and 5 and 5, and the factors of 35, which will be 1 and 35 and 5 and 7. And the highest common factor is the number in both lists, the highest number in both lists, so it's 5. So what we can do is we can cut all of these pipes into 5 metre pipes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, not to scale, and then 7 of these, so 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and so there's 7 in total. So each of these are 5 metre long, and there's no wastage, and that's the longest we can make the pipes for there to be no wastage at all. So my answer is 5 metres. So we're looking to write a formula for the cost in pounds of hiring a microwave for X amount of days. So the cost is C, so it's going to be C equals, and it says it's going to be 55 pence a day. Now it wants the answer in pounds, so we need to convert this 55 pence into pounds. So that's going to be 0.55. And it's going to be 0.55 times the amount of days. Well, it says the amount of days is X. So it's going to be 0.55x. Then it says that there's just a one-off cost of £15. So you're going to have to pay £15 regardless. So we're just going to add 15 onto that. So the answer would be C equals 0.55x plus 15. So let's write these numbers out. And the first thing to do is work out what the numbers are going up by. So they're going up by -3, because they're minusing 3 each time. So we know that the number before the n is going to be -3. So whatever they go up in is the number before the n. Then what we do is we go backwards to find the 0th term. So actually going backwards, we would add 3 and we would find it to be 20. So whatever numbers our 0th term, because 17 is our first term, is going to be what we add to the -3n. So it's going to be add 20. So our answer is -3n plus 20. To find the mean, we need to work out the sum of the numbers, basically what they add up to. And what we then do is divide that by the amount of numbers. Now, what this table is telling us is there are 14 students who got a time between 0 and 4 seconds. Now, it's absolutely impossible to work out what time those students got with the information in this table. So what we need to do is we need to assume they all got, say, 0 seconds or all got 4 seconds. And the fairest value to say that they all got is what we call the midpoint. And to find the midpoint, what you do is you add up the lower bound and the upper bound, so the highest value and the lowest value, add them together and divide by 2. So 0 plus 4 divided by 2, which is just 2. And that gives us a halfway number, which is fair to everyone. So the students roughly probably got 1s, 2s and 3s, and maybe a few 4s maybe. And the average of that is going to be 2, so that's fair for everyone. Same with the 4 and the 8. Halfway between 4 and 8 is 6, and you can add them together, 12 divided by 2, which is 6. Go down finding the midpoints, and we're just going to assume the students all scored the same amount, all got the same time. Then we're going to do our FS column, okay? And so we're assuming that 14 students got a time of 2 seconds, so when you times those together, you get 28. And we're just going to times all of these together. Okay, next we're going to work out the sum of the FS. And to work that out, we just add all of these up together. So we're going to do 28 plus 36 plus 30 plus 126 plus 36. And when you add them all up, you get 256. Now, that will give us the sum of numbers, so we're going to put that into our working out now. And we need to find out how many numbers there are. Well, the frequency column will tell us how many numbers there are, so we're just going to add all of those up together. So we're going to find the sum of the frequency, which is 14 plus 6 plus 3 plus 9 plus 2, which is 34. And when we do 256 divided by 34, we get 7.529, blah, blah, blah. It says it wants it to 2 decimal places, so we're going to round it to 7.53. We can't work out what x is straight away, but we can find this value here. And we know with Pythagoras, we can find a third length if we've got other 2 in a right angle triangle. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and a and b were labelled. C is always opposite the right angle, so it'd be 49 squared plus b squared equals 68 squared, and 49 squared is 2401, and 68 squared is 4624. So we are solving here, so let's get our lines down. And we're going to start by subtracting the 2401 from both sides. So we've got b squared equals 2223. Then we're going to square root both sides, and we've got b b equal to 47.148, blah blah blah. Okay, we're now looking at the second diagram, and this time we're going to have A, we've got our B, and we're going to call X the C. So it would be A squared plus B squared equals C squared, but this time A is 39. B we are given as 47.148, we've just worked that out, and we're looking for C. In fact, we can call it X now. Okay, so we need to square that. So we do 39 squared plus 47.148 squared, and that will be 3,744 equal to X squared. And we'll just get our lines in because we need to square root both sides, and we get 61.188 blah 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 is equal to X. It says it wants it to 2 decimal places, so that will be 61.19. So to find the gradient, we need the formula or the equation in the form y equals mx plus c. And the m there will give us what the gradient is. So we're just going to be rearranging this equation. And so I'll get my lines in. So the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the x's from the left hand side, and we can do that by adding 6x both sides. So we've got 6y equals, and I'm going to put the 6x first, just to match the y equals mx plus c. Right, the next thing I'm going to do is get rid of this 6, because we just want a y there. So we're going to divide by 6 both sides. So we've got y equals 1x plus 36. Now we shouldn't really write 1, but because we're looking for m, we're looking for the number before x, I've kind of left it in there to show that the gradient will be 1. So factorise means to put it into a bracket, and it looks like it's a quadratic here, but it's actually just a linear factorising because we don't have a number term. So we're going to just use one bracket for this, and looking at these terms, I'm going to focus first on the numbers. So 20 and 30, I can divide both of those by 10, and that will leave 2 and 3. So that's the numbers done. Next I'm looking at the t terms. So we've got t squared there and a t there. So we can divide out a t, but that will leave a t on the first term. And finally I'm going to look at the u, and there's just a u on both of them I can factorise out, and actually that just leaves nothing on the inside of the bracket. Now always when you do this, expand the bracket to check if you've made any mistakes. So I'm going to do smiles and rainbows. There's loads of different methods. So 10 times 2 is 20, t times t is t squared, and then the u, plus 10 times 3 is 30, times t times u. So we know we've got the right answer. So our answer is 10tu brackets 2t plus 3. To find an error interval, what we need to do is find the smallest and largest that a number can be. So I start by just drawing a quick number line, and we put our number in the middle, which is 89.6. Now we're looking to the nearest tenth, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down the next number down and the next number up in tenths. So the next number down would be 89.5, the next number up would be 89.7. Now the bounds, the upper and lower bound, the maximum and minimum number it could be before rounding, are going to be at the halfway points. So here and here. And so all we need to do is work out what those numbers are. So halfway between 89.5 and 89.6 is 89.55. And halfway between 89.6 and 89.7 is 89.65. So those are going to be our lower and upper bounds. But how do we show it as an error interval? Well, we put t in the middle because it tells us that t is
representing the time, and we show it with inequalities. Now, the number can be 89.55, but it can't be 89.65 because that would round to 89.7. So we say everything that's less than but not equal to.
Okay, so we're going to start off by working out the multiplier, and we're told, we always start off with 100%, we're told that the compound interest rate is 1.6%, so we're going to add 1.6% to the 100%, and it's going to be 101.6%. Okay, make that into a decimal by dividing it by 100, so we're just going to divide that by 100, and this will give us the decimal or the multiplier. So the multiplier is 1.016, and so anytime we want to increase something by 1.6%, we just times it by 1.016. Now, we're told that we start off with 2,400, that's our original amount, and to find out what it's going to be in the savings account at the end of the first year, we just times it by the multiplier, 1.016. But we're told that it's for 7 years that it's going to be in there. So we then times it by 1.0167 times, or, easier way of doing it is 1.016 to the power of 7. When we do that, we get 2,682.052 blah blah blah. And because it's money, we round to the nearest pence, so 2,682.05. First thing I'm going to do is add these column vectors. So we're going to add the tops first, and then we're going to add the bottoms. So it's plus minus 14. And so at the top it would be minus 4, and 11 take away 14 is minus 3. Then I'm going to pick a point on my shape, and the the top one tells us how far right we're going. So we know we're going 4 to the left because it's obviously a negative. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. The bottom one tells us how far up we're going. Well, it's going to be down because it's a minus 3. So 1, 2, 3. And we can do that for each of the other points. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And when we've done that, we can join them all up with straight lines. And label the new shape B. So asked to find the bearing of Freetown from Gamley. So that is this angle here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to find this angle, and this will obviously be 90 degrees because the hiker walked west, and it's against the west line and the north line, so it's definitely 90 degrees. So we can work out what the bearing is if we know that angle inside the triangle. So we're going to start by labelling the sides. Well, we've got 90 degrees here, we've got hypotenuse here, we've got the adjacent here next to the angle, and we've got the opposite, which is across from the marked angle. Here we're not using the hypotenuse, so we can cross that out, and we can do our SOHCAHTOA. And the only one that doesn't have the hypotenuse is TOA. And so we're doing tan x equals the opposite, which is 49 over 98. Get our lines in. And we're going to do the inverse tan to both sides. So we get x equals, and we do inverse tan, which is 26.565, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we know that the whole of the way around up until this point is 270 because we've got this 90 degree left. So what I'm going to do now is we're just going to work out the bearing. So bearing, we're just going to do 270, take away the 26.565, blah, blah, blah. And that gives us 243.434. Blah, blah, blah. It says it wants it to the nearest whole number. So that's going to be 243. To find the perimeter of this sector, we've got to first of all find out the length of the arc, which will be this part here. And the formula for arc length is, first of all, we find out the fraction of the circle we have. So we put the angle over 360, and that will tell us the fraction of the circle that the sector is. And then all we do is we times that by the circumference, which is pi d. And so that's going to be 49 over 360 times pi times, and the diameter would be twice the radius. The radius is 7, so it would be times 14. When we do all of that, we get 5.986, blah, blah, blah. But that is not the perimeter yet. Perimeter needs to include, get the right ones, needs to include these parts here. So the perimeter will be the 5.986 plus a radius plus another radius. And when we do that, we get 19.986, blah, blah, blah. And we want to round it to 2 decimal places, so that will be 19.99 centimetres. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our OnMaths site. OnMaths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions, and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing.